Okay, dearies, we are going to start with the front bodice, and here I am marking 1 inch from the edges. I am going to use this as my starting line. Okay, sometimes the pattern paper may not have a straight edge, so you want to draw your own straight line that you can start taking your measurements from. All right. Okay, so I have done the same thing for both edges. Now we can start. Okay, so from the upper part, which is our shoulder line, we come down by 12 inches, which is my shoulder to bust, and then 19 inches, which is my front shoulder to waist measurement. Okay, they are not the same for the front and back, so we are going to square them across and then draw a straight line. Also, you need to take note of this. The measurement video The measurement video has been uploaded on my playlist. And so if you don't know how to take any of these measurements, you can visit my playlist. All right. Now for our neck width, we are going to use a formula, and that involves the neck circumference and the bust circumference. So you either divide your neck circumference by 5 or your bust circumference by 12. Okay, so that is what I have here. You can see the results are 3.2 and 3.3. They are very close. So I use 3.25. Okay, now you can use the neck width, the same neck width as your neck depth, or you can add half inch to 1 inch ease allowance. That is totally based on your choice and preference. Okay, and then you square them out to get a nice rectangle or square. All right, depending on the measurement you use. If you use the same neck width for your neck depth, you get a perfect square. So we are going to do that right now. Now remember, on the shoulder line, we are supposed to input our across shoulder measurement. Mine is 16, so 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. Okay, but we have already taken part of it for our neck width. Okay, so the remainder, as you can see where my hand is, that is what we are going to use for the shoulder width. Now we are coming down by 1.5 inches for our shoulder slope. You get this by dividing your shoulder measurement by 10. Mine is 16 divided by 10 is 1.6, and that is very close to 1.5 inches. So I used 1.5, okay? And then you pivot the measurement you have there from the neck width to the edge of your shoulder. You pivot that measurement to your shoulder slope line, and then we draw our new shoulder width line. I hope you get me up to this point. Okay, now we are going to do something. We have to come down to the level of our armhole, right? The armhole depth is calculated using the bust circumference. Divide the bust circumference by 6 and add 1.5, or divide it by 4 and subtract 2. Mine will give me 8. Okay, so I am marking it from the starting point of the shoulder slope down to that 8 inches. Okay, and I'm going to square it across to get my armhole depth line or arm side depth line. Okay, bust divided by 4 minus 2, or bust divided by 6 plus 1.5. Okay, now you take the measurements, the horizontal measurement you got from the shoulder slope line, and then mirror it on the armhole depth line, and then connect it with a straight line. Okay, this is going to help us get our armhole curve. Now on the armhole depth line, we are going to mark our bust circumference divided by 4. Mine is 40 divided by 4 is 10. And I'm going to square it across the remaining horizontal lines. Okay, so that is going to give me some kind of a box. Basically, this is a bodice block. Okay, but because we are human beings and we have shape, okay, we are going to craft a shape out of what we are seeing right now. So on the armhole depth line, okay, remember I had 8 inches. Okay, you divide it into 2. So halfway through the line, you are going to mark the point and you are going to mirror it on our center front line. Okay, you mirror that measurement on our center front line, and then we trace or mark with broken lines. Okay, this line is our across chest line where we are going to put our across chest measurement. Remember, we are not going in by ½ inch, we are measuring, okay, so that we get a perfect fit. So my across chest is 13 divided by 2 is 6.5, and that is what I have put there. So my curve is now going to be from the shoulder slope to that 6.5 inch point, and then to the armhole depth line that you are seeing. Okay, here I am just trying to create a right angle so that at the end of the day the patterns will align. So any ruler of your choice, any ruler that has this kind of shape, the right angle 90 degrees, just put it there and mark a small or short straight line. Okay, that is going to be your guideline to draw your curve or whatever you are going to do. That's going to be your guideline. Okay, we do this for both sides. All right, so 90 degrees here, and then we'll get 90 degrees for the neck also. So I'm going to connect this to the armhole depth line like this. Okay, so this is our armhole curve, but it is not a final curve yet. After we have drafted the back pattern, we are going to compare the length of the two. Okay, and we are going to make some adjustments so that our front armhole curve will become shorter than the back armhole curve, so that we don't have any gaping. Okay, people with a lot of bust usually have a lot of gaping. All right, if you don't have much, you can escape with it. But if you have some form of bust, you are going to experience gaping if you don't do that. Okay, so stay tuned and watch the tutorial for the back pattern too. You will find the adjustment video in there. So here, just like I said earlier, we have drawn our 90-degree guideline, and we are going to use that to shape our neckline. The neckline doesn't have to be round. You can use any neckline of your choice, V-neck, U-neck, anyhow you want to do it. Just make sure you start from the guideline, okay? And in case you want to extend your neckline, just take the remaining measurement from the shoulder slope line, okay? Don't take it from the shoulder line, take it from the shoulder slope line, all right? Now we are just going to label the lines: the shoulder line, the neckline, the across chest line, and then the armhole depth line. Okay, our armhole depth line here, I wrote the bust level line, but I added the armhole depth line so that you can see what I was referring to. Okay, then from there, our bust line. And then the last one is the waistline for the front bodice block. Okay, now we are going to dive into the shaping. On the bust line, we are going to mark half of our nipple to nipple measurement. Mine is 7.5 inches, so divided by 2 is 3 3/4 inch. Okay, 3/3/4. I'm going to mark it on the bust and the waistline, connect it with a straight line. Now we are going to draw our dart, but the dart is not supposed to end on the bust line. It's supposed to start some inches away from the bust line, and we have a formula for that, which is your bust circumference divided by 40. Okay, now looking at the waistline, we have our bust measurement there, which is 10. Okay, and my waist width, waist circumference divided by 4 is 8 inches, so the remainder is 2. This 2 inches is what we need to shape the dress. We are going to divide that 2 into 3, okay, into 3, and we are going to use majority, that is 2/3 of it. 2 of that, we are going to use that to shape the front body. So that will be for the dart, and the remaining one will be for the side seam shaping. Okay, when we get to the back bodice, we are not going to use 2, we are going to use 1, because the back bodice doesn't have any protrusion, like there's no boobs at the back. Okay, the dart is going to create some sort of protrusion or extra room, so that any part of your body that has got curves can fit inside. Okay, now we need that for our boobs in the front. Okay, now as I said, we are going to come down by 1 inch. It is not standard for everybody. It is your bust circumference divided by 40. Okay, my bust is 40, divided by 40 is 1 inch. So I come down by 1 inch before I start my dart. Okay, so somebody whose bust is not up to 40 would come down by less than that. Okay, and this is to prevent pointy darts. Okay, we don't want the tip of our dart to be pointed. Okay, so that measurement we used for the dart, we are going to replace it on the waistline. Okay, we are going to replace it. So now that we have added it to the 8-inch waist measurement, we are going to use the remainder, which is that one, the single one, to connect to the side seam. But remember, I said my front waist measurement, or front shoulder to waist measurement, is 19. The back waist measurement is 17. So the difference is 2. We are going to first take that out of the side seam, starting from the bust point downwards, and then we are going to connect that to the bust point, 1 inch away from the bust point as usual. We are going to do that. And then after we have done that, we are now going to draw our side seam. So as you can see, I connected it to a point that is 1 inch away from the bust apex. Okay, where your nipple should be, 1 inch away from that. And then we want to make sure our dart legs are the same. Okay, so we take the measurement from the side seam to that 1 inch point, and then we pivot it to the second dart leg, and then mark it so that those two dart legs can be the same. Then when we eventually through the seam, okay, when we fold, we fold one dart leg over the other. When the dart legs meet, it's going to be a straight line. Okay, I hope you get what I mean. I'm going to illustrate it here for you to see. So from that point, we are going to connect to the new waist point. Okay, that is our 8 inches plus the dart allowance. Okay, let's use broken lines for that. When we are done, we are going to close the side dart okay, the bust that we are going to close it, and then you see that those 2 points actually meet, the dart legs meet at the same point. Okay, let's do that quickly and then we can continue with the tutorial. Okay, so you see they are actually meeting at the same point. This is what we wanted to achieve, and that is why we made sure that dart legs were the same. Okay, we don't want our dart leg extending beyond our bust point. Okay, so now when we close this other dart, the side seam is going to bend towards the center front. Okay, it's going to give us a nice shape, so don't you worry at all. So now we can make those broken lines actual lines. That is going to be our side seam. Okay, and when we take the measurement, we are going to make sure that measurement is the same as the side seam measurement we are going to get for our back. Okay, so just stay tuned guys, stay tuned. I hope you are learning something, and I hope it is not boring. I hope it is not boring, guys. There's a lot to learn, so let's get into it. So now that we have measured the side seam without the dart, I have 7 3/4 inch. Okay, 7 3/4 of an inch. All right, that is the measurement we should have on our back body's side seam. Okay, so when we get there, we are going to confirm.